Hey guys, Rob Caputo here, and this is an exciting episode of Talking with Cars because today what we're doing is we're actually going to be reviewing my first version of an auto soap, right? So check that out. So this is version 1. Check out the bubbles, how that works. It's pretty cool. I'm working with a blender in the United States, and I'll give that away later on as soon as we get a little finalize with the soap and the formulation of it. So when I'm happy with it and stuff like that, and it's colored and has a scent and all that kind of stuff, then we'll go ahead and market it out, and I'll share all the information. But I wanted to share the process. You know, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what I'm working on and why I'm working on it, because I felt like a lot of the soaps that are out there right now, at least the effective ones, are very expensive. They're over like 50 bucks a gallon. So for 128 ounces, you know, it starts to add up. You know, when you're talking 65, 70, $80 a gallon, it gets quite expensive per wash, you know. So there's a lot of different parameters that I'm looking at. Availability, cost effectiveness, you know, it needs to work really well. It needs to suds up through a Foamcannon really well and be very efficient. So you only need like 1.5 ounces to be able to be effective enough to be able to clean the car and all that kind of stuff and be slick in your bucket. So that's what I'm working on. This is lab version number 1. It's dated 7/8. It was sent to me. I just got back last night, so I actually have an opportunity now to be able to kind of review it, try it through my Foamcannon, and see how that works, right? So eventually, this is going to be blue in color, and it's going to smell, I believe, like blueberry. That's kind of like the direction I'm going, and it's called Blue Crush, right? So, but it takes time to get there, you know, so that process takes time, right? So the first thing I did is I actually reached out to the blender, explained to them who I am, what I'm trying to do. I explained how I'm looking for this to be kind of a pre-wash, but also a good maintenance wash. I want it to be pH balanced. I want it to be slick. I mean, I basically want it to check all the boxes and be inexpensive and available for the public. I'm excited about the process. After I explained to them what I wanted, I also kind of gave them a couple samples. I gave them samples of soaps that I've used in the past, and I've used many, many different soaps out there, and there were 2 of them that were kind of heavy hitters that I thought were very good. I sent the SDS sheets to them so they can kind of review chemically what's inside those soaps and kind of review and kind of almost reverse engineer it, but also take the technologies that they currently have, because they sell their own products, and to kind of mix the 2 together to get a hybrid, you know, something that's very, very effective, cleans very well, and the viscosity. The viscosity is important to me too. You know, I want to make sure that, you know, it flows really well. It could be used in a lot of different cannons and not like clog anything up. You could use your IK sprayers and all that kind of stuff, and then when you dilute it, it'll be even more fluid, you know, so you won't have any problems with that. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I wanted to kind of share this experience with you. So let's get right to it. One of the first things I want to do is I want to check the pH balance of it. I want to make sure that it is pH balanced in the bottle, and then obviously when you mix it with water, it's going to continue to be pH balanced. Bottom line, when it hits the car, I want it to be super safe, right? I want it to glide on the paint. I want it to stick really well, wet really well, and then obviously clean the surfaces really well. So that's where I'm aiming. So I'm going to put in my Foamcannon. I already have the water in here. I have, how many ounces? I have 900 milliliters, of water in here ready to go. And we're going to put, right now it's kind of designed for 1.5 ounces of soap to go into that. And we're going to try it out. So first things first, let's put the soap 1.5 ounces, and you can see the way it flows. That's 1.5 ounces, right? So we got 1.5 ounces of soap, and right now it doesn't smell anything but cleaner. You can smell the surfactants in there. We're going to pour that in. So now we're at 950 milliliters, right? Let's shake this up a little bit. We got everything ready to go, and it's crystal clear. So, you know, I was almost tempted to keep it clear, But no, I want to have it to look like kind of like pool water blue, you know, that nice crisp blue. So it's refreshing, and then have a blueberry scent to it so that eventually, you know, because although I understand how some companies don't want to put a scent to it because it might alter the chemistry a little bit, it's really not that big a deal, especially when you put a little bit in there, because I feel like it really does add to the experience. So let's do that. Let's check the pH. I have my pH tester right here. We used it for the water hardness episode. So we're at 9.4. That's the pH. So it's not too bad. I mean, anything between, like, as far as I'm concerned, anything between like 5 and like 9 is kind of in that middle area. Obviously, perfectly pH balanced would be 7. 9 is probably a little bit on the higher side, but you know, when you're dealing with this type of chemistry, you know, you're trying to balance between cleaning power and the pH level, right? So you're kind of playing between those two cards. And not to mention when you dilute it, and then obviously the way that it's set up in here, it's going to be less than that. So let's test that out now. I'm going to rinse this off, and then we're going to try the pH level in the bottle as it's diluted. All right, so I'm dunking it into the already diluted version of it, and it's at an 8. So it definitely lowered the pH level, no question about it. And then when you're shooting water through it and it's mixing again with air, this fluid, and additional water, you're going to get down to like a 7 by the time you hit the car. And we'll double check that. We'll take a little bit of that out of the cannon, we'll let it settle, and then we'll put it in here and we'll check to see what the pH level is. So we're in a good spot, no question about it. We're not threatened by this at all. It's definitely a pH balanced soap. And then we'll go to town, all right? So we're going to set up our CARZILLA pressure washer. We're going to try this on the car, see how much of the soils it actually draws out, see how the surfactants work. And there should be 2 surfactants in here. That's what we were discussing. And we'll see if that shows up on the car, see if it translates. All right, and just so we have a datum point, the water that's coming out of my tap is 7, right? So we went from 9 point something to 8. The water that's coming out of the tap is 7. So I'm curious, once we send this through the Foamcannon, what's the pH level? So I'm assuming it's going to be in the 7 mark. All right, got it in the Foamcannon. We got it all set up. CARZILLA's running. So let's see what it's all about. Impressive so far. Half the car is done. Half of this Foamcannon is done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually just check out the cleaning power. We're going to see how much of that dirt it pulls out. I mean, it's sticking to the paint pretty good. It's sliding off, pulling the dirts. Maybe a little bit more cleaning power would be good. And what I'll do is maybe like introduce another soap. I mean, I see it's definitely pulling some dirt. I mean, you can see it there. A little bit on the looser side. But you see there's definitely dirt coming down. This rear window is pretty dirty. It's definitely cleaning off some of that dirt. Unfortunately, this car was very dirty, and then we went through a rainstorm and it kind of rinsed it off, which I was not happy about because I wanted to see if it would pull those dirts off. I mean, it foamed up pretty good. Maybe a little bit more foam, a little bit more aggressive on the cleaning agents, because what I want this to be is a little bit more of a pre-wash slash maintenance wash, you know, so it's not just a maintenance wash. You can use it as a pre-wash. And for that, it needs to have a little bit more power, I think. So, all right, let me try a different soap. I'm going to rinse off this side of the car. I'm not going to rinse off the wheels. Maybe use a different soap on the wheels and see how it works. All right, so what I decided to do is I'm going to use the other side of the car as a test for the soap that I used as a sample. All right, so we're going to use that soap on this side of the car and see how it foams up, and we're going to see how it cleans. You see a little bit more dirt being pulled away. You know, the one interesting thing about this soap is it kind of like, it broke down a little bit sooner on the bottom side, so that's an advantage to mine. Foaming capacity is about the same. Wetting action on this is pretty decent. Not bad. I mean, I guess it's pretty close. I do see more dirt, you know, in these suds right here. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that this soap requires 4 ounces, just in the Foamcannon. So I kind of want to show you what's happening here, right? So this is the other soap that we used. And you could definitely see the dirt being drugged down, the discoloration of the soap, right? It's right there, you can see it. In here. Check the rear of the car. You can definitely see that, right? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to grab onto that dirt and really draw it away. And let's check the other side as that's pulling off some of the dirt with my soap and see if it's similar. Not quite there. I do see some soils, but I don't see the browning action. Not as much as the other side. So not a bad first attempt, no question about it. So now what we need to do is we need to kind of like strengthen this up a little bit and add a little bit more strength. I think what's more important to me, the foaming is actually pretty decent. Let's try this again. Let's check out the foaming. It's not bad at all. Really isn't. It just needs to stick a little bit longer before it starts to do that, before it starts to pull. And maybe with a little bit more soap, I can get that. You know, maybe with like 2.5 ounces, I can get there. Maybe that's something I'll try next. But I wanted to try to get this soap to a point where I only need like an ounce and a half maximum to get the foaming, to get the cleaning power. That's my goal. Well, let's play around with the foam on this one. You can see it's a little thicker, right? and it sticks to the panel very well. And you can see how it just hangs on just a little bit longer, so it doesn't want to drag down too quick, because you want the soap to do its job and then drag it down. Make sense? So that's kind of like what we're looking for right here. And it's breaking right here, like where the door panel starts to like bend in. That's where it's starting to break first. But up on here, on these panels, it's staying up there, for sure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this side, this back half, with the competitors. And I'm going to quickly I mean, it's not a crazy difference. It does appear to be a little bit looser though. I mean, not bad overall. Definitely not bad. Maybe I'm being a little bit critical because it is something that I'm working on, and I want it to like really check off all the boxes. 2 ounces of foam, see if that makes a big difference. Go from there. Definitely pulled some dirt. Version 1 soap is actually not that bad. Not bad at all. If we could tweak it just a hair, I think we'll be in good shape for sure. All right, now we're going to rinse this off and see how it did. All right, and then I want to check the pH level of what's hitting the car. So let's check that. Yeah, 8.1. So it didn't really alter it too much. It's lowering, it's dropping. So we're at 8 right now. So it dropped it from a 9 point something to an 8 by the time it hits the car. So that's perfectly pH balanced. All right, so the question is how did it clean? How did it do compared to the other soap? So if we look up close, these panels right in here look pretty decent, right? There's not a lot of dirt or scum that's hitting it. There is a little bit of, when you drag your finger across, you can see it's picking up something. So it's not perfectly clean, that's for sure. Right, lower panels, you can actually feel it. It didn't do much with bug guts and the organics. That's still there, still in their spots. So I think we have a little work to do in terms of aggressiveness. Great first attempt, no question about it. It's a little bit more aggressive. I think that's what we need to do. Overall, pretty good first attempt. So I think we're getting close. I think this is the first version. It is the first version, and we're getting there. We need to add a little bit more cleaning power. We need to just kind of add that, and I think it'll really kind of bring it to the next level. So I'm going to rinse this off, and I'm not even going to do a contact wash because it's going to rain tonight. But great job to my blender. All we got to do is maybe 1 or 2 more versions of this, and we'll see how it goes. See you on the next one. Peace.